Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Fixin Food with Frankie. I'm doing an original recipe today. This recipe in particular, I came up with by mistake. Back when I was 20 years old and I lived in Charleston, I had some friends that lived in a house downtown. And some of those houses, the kitchen on them are additions, but when they put these additions on these houses, they build them on what was the existing porch, which means that the floor and the room itself is at a slant. So what I'm gonna make for you today is a raspberry stuffed salmon. We were going to grill out that day and we had a bowl of raspberries on the shelf above the counter where we were prepping the salmon. And because of the slant of the house, the raspberry bowl tipped over and all these raspberries landed on the salmon fillet. And my buddy and I looked at each other and we were just like, let's give that a shot. And so over the years, it's morphed into what I have it now. I think you'll all enjoy it. I have received some great positive criticism on my videos. So this one in particular today, somebody requested that I kind of zoom in on the prep area so you can see what I'm doing. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm just saying hello now and we're gonna cut away. And when we come back, you're gonna see the salmon fillet here and I'll talk to you while we go through it. All right, we're back. So what I have here is just a basic salmon fillet. You can get at your local seafood store or Sam's or Costco, wherever you want to get it. And I've rinsed it off and I dry it pat with a paper towel. Pat it dry with a paper towel? Yeah. So what we're gonna do is, first things first. I prefer to wear gloves when I do this one. Not just for sanitation reasons, but also because this can be a little messy. So we're gonna glove up. Holy moly, should have gotten the powdered ones, Jesus. Okay, so I've got a fillet knife. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cut slits in the fillet about 1.5 to 2 inches apart. As you're doing this, you wanna be mindful that you don't go all the way through and cut through the skin because you wanna keep this as one whole piece. So you don't really have to force down too much on the knife so much as you just want it to kind of glide through and give you a little bit of a slit there. It's also good if you have a sharp knife or to sharpen your knife before you do this so that you aren't forcing down too much and messing up the meat. Okay. So now we have those little slits in there. Ooh. So now we're gonna take fresh raspberries and we're gonna do this. I usually do like one at a time and just kind of give it a gentle squeeze between my fingers and just start pushing them down into these little slits. Let me tell you, finding raspberries on Valentine's weekend actually pretty difficult. I would have thought finding strawberries would be difficult, but it was finding raspberries. I ended up going to 4 different grocery stores and naturally it was the most expensive grocery store that had them. So when we eat this tonight, everyone will eat it and they will like it. So, okay. These raspberries were $6 a bunch, not even organic. There we go. This isn't a very long process at all. It's just a little bit tedious. Okay. What's great about this, my dad is a big believer in serving fruit with fish. That concept had never occurred to me, but it really does go well together. We can get one more in here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I have a lined baking sheet. We're going to use this here. I like to line the baking sheet because as this cooks, some of you know that the skin will stick to the baking sheet. So this just makes cleanup a lot easier. So we're gonna transfer the filet there, okay? And then I like to put whole raspberries on top as well, because as this cooks, these will kind of cook down. Okay. All right. Shed those. All right. So now what I'm going to do is top this with yellow bell pepper. You can use any bell pepper you like. I prefer to use yellow bell pepper just because of the contrast of colors you're going to get. So I just sprinkle yellow bell pepper over it. This is just one bell pepper. And you don't have to use the whole thing because you do want this fish to be able to breathe as it cooks. All right. Do just a little bit of salt and pepper, not very much. Prefer to use sea salt on this. I said not very much, just a touch on that. And then the last step before we throw it in the oven, I use this spray can of olive oil specifically because salmon is already a very oily fish, so you don't want to put too much oil on it or it's going to be a mess. So just a little gentle spray of olive oil, and then I cover it with foil. I just lightly cover it, like I just set it on there, that's it. And I'm putting this in the oven at 350 degrees for about 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, I come and remove the top layer, let it sit in the oven another 3 to 5 minutes, and then take it out. So we will return once that process has happened. Okay, everybody, we're back. We're gonna go ahead and take this out of the oven. This is what it should look like once you get it out of the oven. See how all the raspberries have kind of nicely melted down a little bit inside the salmon. Okay. Now, I'm going to sprinkle green onions on top. Fresh green onions. I love green onions. And the colors start to really pop out on this. It's a beautiful meal. All right, and then I do crumbled goat cheese. And there is no such thing as too much goat cheese, ever. Ever, ever, ever. Goat cheese is so good. All right, and for the final part, balsamic glaze. It's important that you get the glaze and not just pure balsamic vinegar. The glaze has a much better sweetness to it, and it's got the consistency that you're looking for. So then I just kind of right over top. Balsamic glaze. How hot is this pan? Okay, still too hot. Okay. So, let's do it this way. This is the finished product you are looking for. Isn't that gorgeous? And it's just as good to eat. Trust me, it's so... there's so many explosions that happen in your taste buds with this. Couple side notes. I usually serve this with like spaghetti squash. You can do it with any vegetable. Asparagus is pretty good. And then here's the fun part. What I've done before If I had any left over the next day, I would put it in the KitchenAid mixer with a block of cream cheese, and it ends up making the most amazing lox spread for a bagel ever. I've also just taken it and thrown it over top of a salad. It doesn't even need any dressing because there's so many great flavors in there already. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. It's very simple, terribly simple to make, delicious, healthy. It's fantastic. Thanks for watching, y'all. Like I wasn't gonna eat any. That is so good. That is so good. The tartness of those raspberries mixing with that goat cheese. Nailed it.